Hey guys, this is DFD, aka Dark Frozen Depths, and this is going to be another one of those pre-event videos, or event videos, I should really call them, because not all of them's been before the event. But anyways, we have a raid event on our hands, and I'm going to pretty much go over that. This is completely new stuff for us on the Nutaku side of things, so that's something to know about. And before I even start this too, I have no clue if this is going to happen, but we may or may not get Tower of Malice pretty soon. Last time it coincided with another event, so I don't know. That said, if we do get it, I'm going to quickly go over things and also upload Tower of Malice videos, but I don't expect to do too much on there because I'm in a worse position than before for the upcoming Tower of Malice. You'll find out why then. But anyways, this event right here, water event, so if you're using fire characters, you probably don't want to. My 100% Adoan is not going to get any use out of this event, because I probably could do some damage, but since I'm dealing less and taking more, it's kind of stupid. So only the truly overpowered players can actually do that one, because when you go against the element setup where it's like you're the one taking extra damage, then you're probably going to want to be beyond strong if you want to pull that off. But that's just for show off stats. Anyways, we have an SSR Adoan, SSR weapon, and then on top of that there's a few SR weapons that are worth it, and then you get a free Kamihime. So I would honestly suggest getting as much as you possibly can. There's only one weapon you may or may not want to save, so it still depends on what your grids are and how far you are into the game. Because I tend to try and do these videos looking at players across the board, not just ones that's been there since day one like me. But anyways, since this is also a raid event, which we got after the Union ones, hopefully you got energy seeds and whatnot to jump into other people's raids that will help you out. You can also invite them into your own raids, so newer players got a very good starting point right here as well, because raid events are very, very catered to everybody. You can pretty much do like one round of attacks, still get the rewards, but still try and do as much as possible to get participation points. And no, I will not call it the abbreviation because it sounds weird. But anyways, since this is a raid event, if you're trying to start your own raids, farm standard to get expert materials, farm expert to get Ragnarok materials. You can get quite a few magic jewels just by clearing all the storyline stuff too. So they generally give you enough for a free pull and then start you on your way for another one. But quite frankly, it depends on what you want to use your magic jewels on too. Because I've been pulling quite a bit with them lately, but newer players might want to get some extra slots for other stuff. If I'm going to get any more slot expansions, it's probably going to be for accessories if I ever rack up that many. But that's the whole thing with that. And of course, you can only get Devil Souls from Ragnarok fights. So either start your own or jump into other people's. But at the same time, if you really want to go that route, you can farm standard and get all the Divine Souls you need. So, I mean, it's an interesting little strategy, and I've done it slightly just trying to get materials from other stuff, because burst time is also a thing with these kind of events, and I just go in with burst time, full burst with my team, wipe out the standard boss in one shot, and then just farm up more materials. It also gave me a lot of Divine Souls. And keep this in mind too, for those of you that do have Adoans that increase the drop rate, they do affect the rate of how many Divine and Devil Souls actually fall down. So if you're trying to grind for more rewards, it's not a bad idea to have them in your lead, especially since one of them's wind, and we also have a mission that deals with that, so keep that in mind. But anyways, same typical stuff, raid event, collaborate with other players, standard stuff. Now this event Adoan, she's an interesting one. We're going to go over her a little bit more later, but just right at the start, I'm going to mention that she deals with character attack and HP. So that's something to know. Those that don't tend to have more use out of any other character attack ones, so keep that in mind. And the SSR weapon is going to end up being a hammer, by the looks of it, just given the name, but yeah. Because I forgot to do this in previous videos, and I'm sorry about that, but the type of weapons also kind of counts, because it also determines which souls can use that weapon. I mean, granted, we do have the catastrophe fights where you can get ones catered to specific souls, but until you get that far, you're going to want these. Not to mention, final break weapons can kind of compete with them a little bit. But, the SR Kamihime, I was about to say the other one. The SR Kamihime will also go over as well. Very, very easy to get these, so I'm assuming everybody's going to have it if you played this event. But anyways, getting really into the meat of things, you have to deal with 750,000 HP on Standard, 4.2 million on Expert, and 12 million on Ragnarok. So yeah. And quite frankly, the remarks and all that really don't help, because they don't fill that info out anymore in these. I've noticed that with the wiki, which is why we go down here to actually get the real info. But if you are indeed trying to complete the entire list, 250 Divine Souls and 100 Devil Souls never changes at this point for some reason. So I'm assuming that's going to be how it is for every single raid event that comes on here. It hasn't changed for who knows how many, and it probably won't change ever again. That said, you can get a crap ton of stuff the more of them you get. You only need 50 Divine and 55 Devil in order to get all the SSR stuff. But I would suggest going as far as you can to get more stuff as well. Because looking at this, they're giving you a whopping 32 free pulls. Just between the jewels and the tickets. And you can also get some Dragonic Eye Shards too. So yeah, keep that in mind. Not to mention too, when you get raid gacha tickets, you can farm extra copies of the weapons and whatnot, so if you're really that diligent enough, you can farm it for more magic jewels, you can farm it for more gems, you can farm it for more materials like +1 Adolins and +1 weapons. You can farm it for extra copies of the SSR weapon. Because honestly, if somebody really does have enough patience and luck, you can indeed make a full grid of SSR weapons off of one raid event. Now, is it really going to happen anytime soon? Probably not, because you got to get a lot of lucky pulls in the raid gacha, and I think it's a 0.1% chance for an SSR weapon. But at the same time, it's not impossible either. It's really as far as you really want to go with it, because I've seen people get 2, even 3 full copies of it before, so it's feasible. But anyways, getting into this Standard, you have a Raging Charge to possibly worry about depending on how strong you are, where you can take a nice chunk of damage, but it gives Rampaging buff to itself, which practically doubles its attack power. So it can be kind of dangerous. Now, Expert, it's looking kind of weird. There's like multiple icons that you got to pay attention to. So that said, it can change the pattern of the attacks by the looks of it. But from what I'm seeing right here, you can get hit with attack down. You can get hit with rampaging. And rampaging from enemies is usually worse than what you can give to your own allies, so. And then there's also the fact that you can get dizzied, or I forget the actual name of the status effect for some reason. I'm drawing a blank. But it's the one with the heart icon where you can sometimes get your turn skipped. But yeah, that's one of the more annoying ones, because it can even prevent bursts from happening, so it can ruin your full burst. It's happened to me on one of the accessory quests before, so be careful of that. You may or may not want to be able to remove status effects. Considering that Thunder's an attribute that's got the advantage, it's going to be a little bit tricky to do. Most people tend to use Soul for a heal or for Thunder, so maybe you might have it, maybe you might not. But it's looking like the normal charge is going to deal a little bit of damage, more or less. And then raging charge is going to hit pretty much the status effects. And it's also looking like it's going to increase its own attack power too, without the rampaging. But I don't know if it puts rampaging on itself or not in this fight. If it does, it's going to be tricky. Honestly, looking at this info right here on screen, if you're even reading it, it does look a little confusing. It seems like it's getting harder and harder to deal with the wiki, so I'm sorry about that. But from what I'm translating, though, you definitely have to deal with status effects. So being able to remove them off your enemy and being able to remove the bad ones off yourself, those are definitely going to be helpful in this. And again, Thunder Team doesn't have too many healers. Most of them's been limited or SR, so yeah, you might want to go all out damage on this, or make sure you have an off element healer that won't get destroyed, because fire does have a few healers, but you rather not do that. They give you one in the game, so your fallback is Nikkei. But anyways, now Ragnarok, it says its buffing is increased to 2, meaning that it can stack 2 attack ups on itself. That's going to be dangerous. That's enough said with that one. Definitely make sure you have somebody like, say, Cassiopeia that can remove it with Chaos Magic, or there's even a few Kamihime that can actually do it. I think there's a couple in Thunder that's capable of it. But, yeah, definitely be careful of that. And they do say that, Mordred's a good suggestion, and so is Artanian because of the B-frame. Because it's not too easy to find B-frame stuff on all that. Okay, so scrolling down further, we're going past the list of rewards because it pretty much doesn't change. I love how it's translated into Hymen points instead of soul points. Like, what are they implying? Now, here's where we start getting into some very interesting stuff. I would honestly suggest keeping a copy of this Adon, because her stats are pretty good. And then she comes with a unique effect I don't think we've seen yet. Now, she will indeed increase your HP by 20% and your character attack by 40% if you max break her. So those of you that have missed Jorgamonger, or however you pronounce her name, way early in the game, because she was like one of the first 3 or 4 events, I do believe. Those of you that have missed her, you got a chance to get in that Adon that works like her, just with the main / friend effect. But the summon effect is different. The summon effect causes confusion. Now, this is where it gets a little interesting, because I don't know if it works on one person, like on one enemy. But what confusion will do is it'll make enemies attack each other. So, say that an enemy has like full burst up. I haven't confirmed this yet, but I'm getting an idea where it might indeed make them full burst their own ally. Or they don't get full burst. Might burst their own ally. So it's like you see a strong nuke that might deal like, say, 5,000 damage to you. Instead, they're going to sip and send it to their own ally. So I don't know. I can't confirm if it will do that with that. But normal hits will definitely make them attack each other from time to time. So that's an interesting little effect. It can make them, in a sense, miss a turn, but also help you deal damage. So it's a thought. She's not a bad Adon to really have too. Plus, her stats are actually pretty nice. Like, having 2,000 attack power, but also have 600 HP is very strong for, at least for an event Adon. When you get the gacha ones, they'll definitely have higher stats and whatnot. But I wouldn't pass up on her. 2,000 attack is generally an area where it's like, okay, keep this Adon as a sub slot. And then she gives a nice chunk of HP, and her effects are pretty good. So I would suggest keeping her. Even if you don't want to keep her, though, Still get as many copies ever as you can because I don't want orbs. They still are indeed a thing. And I still haven't gotten my third Kaiser yet, but I'm getting close. Well, technically third Kaiser from the I don't want orb shop. I pulled one by luck. But anyways, when we get to the SSR weapon, this is a dual effect weapon. Expect these a lot from these events now. But what it's going to do is give pretty much a medium assault, but also increase the recovery performance of water characters, pretty much Ascension. Water has a lot of healers, so this is actually a weapon you could consider using. And it's got a nice chunk of attack power, 2200. For weapons, that's pretty good. So, that said, and then on top of that, it gives I think it's called Dizzy, but it gives it the Dizzy effect on, if you have your soul burst, so that's not a bad one. I would consider that. But here's where things get very, very interesting. Recently, a few events ago, we've been getting SR weapons that have 2 effects. Now, granted, they won't have medium on any of their names anytime soon, unless they probably come from the gacha. But keep this in mind, even SR weapons have a lot more weight now. Before you used to have them to fill holes and whatnot in your grid, now they will last you a long time. They don't have as much attack power as the other stuff, granted. But 2 effects is usually better than 1. So you gotta keep that in mind. That said, this wind weapon that you get and this is from the weapon that releases that free Kamihime, by the way. So it's very, very easy to get this. Will increase both attack power, which is assault, and HP, which is defender. If you recall, on some of my videos, for those of you that have seen them, my light team has a lot of HP, but also deals a lot of damage. This is how. Because I get up their attack power through assault, although you can also do it through pride, and I also got defender on weapons. They have enough to actually get near double on HP, thanks to defender, and more than double attack power from assault. Yeah, assault defender is one of the best weapon combos in the game. So, it's very worth considering to keep this wind weapon. It's also worth considering to do the same thing for they call it a cane, but it's really a staff. This SR staff. Because it is an assault, but also gives a stinger. Now, the thing with stinger is the fact that the more of them you have, the better off you are. Because it will trigger more often and get more power as it goes along, because you can trigger multiple at once. Now, I've mentioned in other videos that stinger works weirdly, where it's like one stinger weapon can trigger but the other can't. But if both trigger, it just amplifies the damage. That's how that works. But it's still a random chance based on how high you get the skill level and the effect. Honestly, I think this is overrated, being a double weapon, but stinger still can help you. So it is worth considering, but probably not worth going as much as the wind weapon. Because it is still a random effect. There's a very good chance it's probably not going to do it anyways. Because the most I've seen comes from I think a 20, maybe 25% chance. So yeah. That's still at best 1 out of every 4 hits. So it's a case of don't rely on it, but if you do happen to have it and nothing else, then just stick it in there. Now, if it was a higher version of it, like say medium or large, then yeah, I probably would take it. Because those are the ones that are hitting at 20%. Small is probably hitting around 10. I don't fully remember because I gotta look up the calculation stuff again, but that's how it is. And the last thing is grails that they have down here. Don't underestimate these things. If you start getting skill levels on your grails and then feed them as fodder, they can help you out a ton. And we just recently had an event that fed out a lot to us. You probably should keep as many of these as you can when you don't need them. But chances are you will, because you should be working on all 6 elements at some point. Now focus mainly on the ones that's strongest for you. You might be like me and have 100% Adolin. You might not. You might also have a team that's been very powered up, like, say, my white team that doesn't have 100% Adolin. Grails will still help you. So, if it helps, try to save them up, get some slots for them. If they're in the permanent rewards list for when you check your mailbox, leave them there if possible. I don't know how many people have thought of this, but if your slots are filling up, but you have stuff that won't expire in your mailbox, just leave it there. Yeah, it means having to go individually select stuff, but it will give you extra spaces. So keep that in mind. And then I'm not even going to go over the other SR weapon too, because it just gives Defender, and that's a case of only if you need more HP. You already got another one that can pretty much give you, like, recovery performance anyway, so that kind of counteracts Defender a bit. But, your missions. It's the same typical stuff with all this, because it's never changing too. They just change the element you have to do with Ragnarok, so assume the same standard stuff, only you need wind for Ragnarok fights. And quite frankly, I might be able to do that one. I might not, it depends. Because my wind team, whenever Shingen bursts with the current weapon she has right now, because I never got her weapon from the catastrophe fights, when Shingen bursts, I have a weapon that I've gotten from the gachas, at least when it used to be there, where it will heal my entire team when Shingen does her burst. And it does about 3,000. I generally don't need a healer on that team thanks to that. But who knows? You might be in a different situation. Wind is very good for generating full bursts. So honestly, I probably could do this. Especially with my wind compilation, because I've got quite a few of them. But that said, that's all we have for this event. I'm going to go over to Kamihime, and then that's that. I'm not even going to go over the new ones that are going to pop up because, quite frankly, I don't know who they are just yet. But this one's going to be a tricky type, oh boy. But let's see here. And she's a win one too. Look at here. She's already giving burst gauge up for everybody. While decreasing the mode gauge of an enemy. That's kind of interesting. Like, she can damage and cause confusion. Another interesting thing. But it's only 120 seconds, so... Usually stuff like that lasts 180. So she's only getting 2 minutes of confusion. But, this is where it's interesting. Attack down. And it says medium. And that's going to last for 240. So that's... 4 minutes? Yeah, 4 minutes of attack down. That's kind of rare. And then she enables her other abilities to get used immediately. So wait, she can go back and use them again? That is 2 shots of the burst gauge up, and she does. Okay, let's go take a closer peek at this. Oh, and I'm looking at this attack down already. She's got even more worse because of this. But anyways, okay, she increases everybody's burst gauge by a raw 10. So it's the same thing as if you have a Ramiel on the Thunder team, where she'll just boost everybody's burst gauge up by a flat amount. It says confusion is like something like dazzling. And it says confusion rate's not too high. Okay, so that's kind of Okay, so maybe I don't want to lost a little bit off of that. But still, it works alongside it works alongside Dizzy, so you can have Dizzy give up a turn, you can have Confusion give up a turn, and in worst case scenario, you can toss in Bland with it to pretty much reduce damage. See, status effects are underrated. I came up with 3 of them that can really sip and ruin somebody's day. And then to make it even worse, you can put Avoidance on your team now, thanks to one of the previous add-ons. So, yeah, all 4 of those in effect, you're probably not getting hit anytime soon. Unless it's a burst, of course, because those seem to violate all rules. But anyways, that's not too bad for the second ability. Third ability is where it's really getting interesting. C-frame attack down. C-frame is very hard to come across. And it's a 15% one too at that, so that's very good. And then on top of that, it's saying that it enables her other abilities to be used instantly. So hey, guess what? you get a second shot at the confusion, and you get another 10 bursts. So she can spike everybody's burst gauges by freaking 20%. A raw 20%. That is very good. So, yeah, we're starting to get some very decent free not adults, well, them too, but free Kamihime from what I'm seeing. Because the last few has been very serviceable. So, yeah, granted, my team doesn't have no spot for her because of the fact, of course, I gotcha like crazy on this game. Just look at my pool VO list. I'm pretty sure I spent a lot more money than I'm willing to admit. But even then, it's still, when we start getting the Towers of Malice, definitely could use some of these characters. So it'll have some uses there. So yeah, that's the whole thing with that. Speaking of which, if Tower Malice does appear, I'm going to quickly go over it because it definitely could lead to a lot of very good stuff. Mainly the item that most people should be aiming for, which is the SSR break limit item, where it will break limit any weapon, any SSR weapon. So Tower of Malice is actually kind of worth it. Just try to get as far as you can, even if you know you're not going to do too well, because you can still get other stuff too. I've gotten tickets. Like, I've gotten gacha tickets. So, yeah. But also, something I gotta mention before I close this off. After I post this video, it's gonna end up being a Rebby video. Now, typically I don't try to ask for views or whatnot, because at the end of the day, it's still whatever people want to do. But considering the fact that some videos I just randomly did pick up a lot more than even my Kamihime ones. Like, go look at my Runes Pharmacy playlist. I have way more views with all 4 of those videos combined than the majority of my Kamihime videos combined. But that's the thing. It's like, I would like for more people to look at some of the other stuff too, because Kamihime Project honestly isn't the only game I do, and I'm trying to branch out a few things. I've recently posted an Elsor video, in fact, and I plan on doing a little bit more of those once I start getting back into it a little bit more, because I've been off and on playing that. I mean, mainly I've been trying to get my my Labby boosted up, because I like Radiant Soul. I like how cute she looks. I like how she's a bit of a supporter and a clearer. People underestimate her, but yeah. People underestimate Metamorphy as well, and you've seen all the damage I can do without a weapon. Imagine with one. But that's the thing. It's like other videos, I wouldn't mind getting more views for them, especially considering the fact that I'm getting close to 1,000 subscribers. So I think it is about time for me to start getting serious about this, even though I haven't hit the 1,000 mark yet. So that said, like, just spread word. Just check out other videos if you haven't. You might enjoy them. Because I've done a lot of different stuff. I've even done, and I do plan on uploading a few more once I do get around to creating them. I've even done music, where I've created my own music, which will be in the game I'm designing. That's another thing people can check out. You can even download a demo of that. But that's the whole thing. I try to branch out more than just other stuff. I mean, it's already happened where it's like, the majority of my views were on Elsor videos. I branched out to Sengoku Providence when it was still a thing. Majority of views went on that. Then I branched out the Kamihime Project. So, who knows? And then I really didn't expect people to start watching Goblin Walker, but it's got quite a few views. And my most viewed video happens to be Crush, which has over 45,000. I think it's past 46,000 now, so yeah. But anyways, just check other stuff out too as well. I even have older Kamihime Project videos that didn't really get too many views, but they still could get more. Who knows? I'm not really asking for too much. I mean, not everybody can sit back and just watch videos all day. Heck, I have a full-time job. I can't even play half these games most of the time. But every little bit helps. That's all I'm really asking. Especially since I'm not doing this for profit. I just want to just have more people see my stuff, just get my name out there a little bit more. But anyways, that's all for this, guys. More Kamihime Project definitely coming soon. More of the other games coming soon, too. Especially since Rabby Ribby released a DLC. And it's looking pretty good. I haven't gotten to the special bosses on it yet, and you'll see videos of those. But it's looking pretty good. especially since I would really like the outfits they gave the girls now. But anyways, you'll see more Rabi, you'll see more Kamihime Project, you'll definitely see more Elsor pretty soon too, because I'm going to end up working on another video once I finally get the Void Weapon to drop for Labby. But that's all I got for this video, guys, and more stuff to come soon. So that's all for now, guys. Take care.